Man, as a guy that's gone through this, it sucks when you find out that one of your parents has been screwing around on the other, man. You never forget that conversation. You never forget when it happened. You never forget the disappointment. In Tara's case here, though, it was her dad cheating on her stepmom, which for her hurt just as much. So when we talked to her on Friday, she was thinking about going right to stepmom and going, hey, I got to tell you what's going on. Hey, Tara.
Hey, how are you?
Good. All right. So lead us up until this weekend, how you found out, the relationship. You must be super, super tight with your stepmom.
Yeah, I've been really close with my stepmom. I mean, they've been married for about 7 years or something like that. And yeah, we've just like always had this amazing bond. And, you know, lately I've just had this feeling that my dad has not been faithful. And I actually followed him in his car to this other person's house, like as a confirmation, you know, and I was just so disgusted. And I was calling you to ask advice of like, do I confront them or not? Because it's just, I wanted to be loyal to my dad, but also at the same time, like, screw him. Like, that, I don't know. It's just, I love my stepmom and my step siblings, and I just didn't want to be the one that knew and didn't tell them.
Didn't tell them or didn't tell her?
Well, her, but I mean, the kids are going to find out, you know, and that's not cool if they knew I knew and didn't say anything.
And I think the advice, if I remember correctly on Friday, was just mostly like, hey, just know if you do this, your relationship with your father is probably going to be altered forever.
Yeah, maybe, but like at the same time, and I think this was sort of my response, was like, why do I want to be close to someone who would do that to his family? Like, it's a really bad example.
Okay.
We also touched on as like siblings, if you were to know, like if my sisters knew or one of my sisters knew, I would not want to know. I would rather them keep that information to themselves.
But I would.
Yeah, and I mean,
You don't wanna know?
I thought about that. But, I mean, I don't know. There's no win here, you know?
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so let's see where your values got you. What happened this weekend?
So I thought about it a lot, and I decided that I did want to tell my stepmom, and I'm really glad that I did because she, you know, took it with such appreciation. Like, she was so very, very grateful that I told her, and also not very surprised. Like, I guess this has happened before. So, you know, it was just one of those things where I kind of said, if there's any way that you could keep me out of it in terms of like how you found out, because I would like to avoid that huge, you know, relationship rift with my dad. And she seemed to really understand that. And so as far as I know, she hasn't said anything to him yet, but if she does, she's going to act like she found out in some other way.
So you told her that you tailed your dad and you know for sure this is like a real affair?
Yeah. And I also saw his phone, like I saw text messages and stuff. And so I had, you know, I told her everything, and she was really appreciative. And, you know, like, I think no matter what, even if they get divorced, like, this woman will always be in my life.
And at what point did she allude to you? At what point she was going to, you know, confront your father?
She didn't, like, you know, I could tell there was shock in her face. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's soon. I mean, I'm expecting it to be soon. I wouldn't think that she would hold on to this for a long period of time, but I do trust that she will, you know, keep me out of it. And I do think I did the right thing.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. You did what you thought was right. You feel like the information was received accordingly, and she's going to do with it what she needs to do with it. And then the chips are going to fall wherever they may.
So if she ends up taking off and leaving your dad and he comes to you for comfort, I guess you just have to put on that sort of fake face and go, hey, I'm sorry you're going through this kind of thing, like knowing what really spawned it.
I mean, no, actually, like, if he tells me what happened, I'm going to give him the same reaction that I have now, which is just like, you're an idiot. Like, why would you mess up the best thing you ever had? You know, like, actions have consequences, and I don't think that we should be afraid of these men that make these terrible decisions. Like, we shouldn't be, you know, we should stand up to them and let them grow up a little bit.
So that's if your dad brings that information to you. But if he comes into the conversation with you looking for someone to confide in and he's like, I did nothing wrong. She's just crazy. Are you gonna drop your truth then?
I'm gonna. I don't know,
Because that would
like,
drive
so
me nuts.
hypothetical, But I think if he acts like he did nothing wrong, then I will say, like, listen, she told me about it. She told me about the text messages. She told me about this, and even I had a weird feeling.
Nice.
You know, something like that. You know, I don't know.
Right.
I honestly haven't thought that far into it, but I've just kind of been sort of like sighing relief over the last 2 days that I told her and it went well, and, you know, and I don't have regrets about that.
Yeah, I mean, you're living your honesty. This is your truth. So how can anybody knock you on that, you know?
And you're saving her from the embarrassment. I think as well as like being cheated on, you're upset about that. But then knowing that it went on for so long and you had no idea or no indication and nobody told you would make it so much worse.
Yep. All right, Sarah, thanks for the info and keep in touch with us. I'd love to know how this all plays out over the next couple of weeks.
Okay. All right. Will do.
All right. Take care now.
The Bert Show.